In a show of defensive discipline, the British unleash a violent torrent of firepower on the charging Zulus. The death count is fewer than 30 British and up to 2,000 Zulus.
Holy crap, man! My goodness, man! Alright, Anglo-Zulu War. This was a suggestion made by me. Well, for me. So, let's get in it.
Resonant chants are tempered by the approach of King Cetshwayo. 20,000 men are arrayed variously in ostrich feathers and jaguar pelts, and in their hands shields and iron-tipped spears. The king addresses them. I have not gone over the seas to look for the white man, yet they have come into my country, and I would not be surprised if they took away our wives and cattle and crops and land. They want to take me. What shall I do?
Insane. Oh, dude. Dude. You know, yeah, in this case, bro, like, typically I'm the type of dude who doesn't like how everyone trashes on the British Empire. But in this case, this was just straight conquest. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, bro. This is like what happened in the Zulu War. That was straight conquest. Like, I can't even justify that, honestly.
The clans of the Zulu kingdom answer him with loud professions of loyalty, for they have not left their quiet homesteads to be showered here with the ashes of sacred herbs, blessed by the ancestral spirits for the sake of mere ceremony. This is a war camp. Red columns have crossed into Zululand. Some 5,000 British troops as well as Africans in their service march at the command of the 2nd Baron Chelmsford. From the center column...
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second, right? He said Africans in their service, right? Hold on.
Lord Chelmsford has repelled Zulu warriors along the border.
Alright, so let's talk about that. A lot of people think that. And I think I saw History Legends do a video on this. But a lot of people saying that when Britain was going on colonizing and whatnot, every time they got into conflict, especially in Africa, with like an African kingdom or tribe, a lot of the times they would also use like other Africans or West Indian soldiers, right? Because the British West Indian regiment, right? It took part in a lot of wars. In a lot of wars against Africa, essentially helping Britain, colonize Africa in a sense, right? And when I say British West Indian Regiment, I'm talking like the British Caribbean, right? So a lot of people think that it was just like pure white people doing this. No, it was not.
He found hundreds of huts set around a pasture, the royal homestead of a high-ranking Zulu, and had it set on fire. The burning valley at their backs, the British now ride further into Zulu country. The stated reasons for this invasion are frivolous, even by the standards of the British Empire. Having brutally colonized diamond-rich land claimed by Africans and Dutch-speaking Boer settlers, the colonial British now border the mighty Zulu kingdom. Virtually every able-bodied man within Zululand can be mobilized by the king for war, and each has been trained from boyhood in the art of combat. The High Commissioner for Southern Africa, Sir Henry Bartle Frere, has cobbled together a series of isolated border incidents into a casus belli against King Cetshwayo, despite the latter's vigorous insistence on avoiding war. Even as Frere's superiors excoriate him for apparent warmongering, this is a chance to strengthen regional British authority, to win glory, and to demolish the largest bloc of indigenous power in Africa. Chelmsford has eager...
Zulus, bro. Based on what I heard of the Zulus, they were menaces, bro. They were menaces. Like, I can't even lie. The Zulus were straight menaces, bro. But their geography honestly ruined them, right? Their geography just really like screwed them over. Like, I'm pretty sure if they were bordering like some other like European power that would supply them or something, Because I think the reason why they lost was because they didn't really have like modern weapon, right? So yeah, but there were still menaces based on what I heard. But we'll see.
Eagerly undertaken Sir Frere's quest, writing, "The Zulus must be thoroughly crushed to make them believe in our superiority. I shall show them how hopelessly inferior they are to us in fighting power."
Oh really? Okay.
The force
Okay.
Chelmsford is hunting, the great Zulu army now passes through undulating valleys and golden hills, lands once host to manifold clans. It was the great King Shaka in the early 19th century who armed the fledgling Zulu people with iron-tipped spears and developed the Horns of the Bull battle tactic to encircle, defeat, and subjugate the warring clans. Zulu tradition holds, "The country was greatly disturbed by refugees, but some remained behind with their heads bowed low, finding it hard to abandon their homes. They who lacked courage fled." Shaka thus founded the Zulu Kingdom, a united network of powerful clans who pledge fealty to the divine king, and several times per year send their men to fight on his behalf. Theirs is a land enchanted by the potent spirits of ancestors, whose favor must be curried by rituals, bravery, and discipline. Through the bare-handed slaying of a bull, Cetshwayo's warriors have summoned the powers of these ancestral shades, and their souls have been ritually purified, their minds fixed on war.
You know, how do I feel about this? Obviously, because I'm mixed race, and you know, I am predominantly Afro race. Obviously, now, granted, my lighting is bad, so you can't really see that I'm like mixed race. But you know, me personally, as someone who's mixed race and obviously is from the Caribbean, you know, they always love to talk about how like how and this is just left wing propaganda, in my personal opinion, liberal, you know, nonsense in my personal opinion. How that the white man came and kidnapped Africans, and but they never really seem to like talk about how like a lot of these African, West African, East African, South African, doesn't matter. They were just warlike. A lot of them were warlike. They were extremely warlike. They, because I see this today where there's this whole, oh, just because you're black, oh, we're brothers. Like, no, no, no. Like, no. You think the freaking Africans cared about, oh, that guy's black. Oh, we're brothers. No. They just freaking killed, loot them, sold them off into slavery. So much so that they weakened themselves to the point where they freaking got colonized. But, well, that's what happened with West Africa. East and South Africa are a bit different. I know Ethiopia didn't get colonized, but still. Like, and like, dude, it just blows my mind how that logic works, right? Like, I get hate, bro. Oh, some of the videos that I'm gonna do in the future, bro. Oh my god, I'm gonna get so much hate for that, but I don't really care. It's gonna be relating to something like this too. But like I said, I don't have my professional equipment yet, so until then, I can't really do nothing except for reactions at the moment. Let's continue.
The British camp stirs early in the morning of January 22nd. A few hundred Zulus have been spotted some miles off, perhaps the vanguard of the larger Zulu force. Neglecting to construct defensive works at the camp, Chelmsford gathers half of his troops and rides out to hunt them. But further north on the same morning, a small scouting mission finds a handful of Zulu warriors herding cattle. They give chase, clamber to the summit of a hill, and stop, struck by the fateful sight spread miles across the valley. 25,000 Zulu warriors come to defend their kingdom. The valley shifts and roars, and the nearest clans charge after the British. Cetshwayo's brilliant general, Cetshwayo, reins in the warriors and strategizes with his officers. Chelmsford has left fewer than 2,000 troops at Isandlwana. There, the British camp watches the Zulu tide pour onto the plain, echoing with stirring war chants and the rattle of spears against shields. Thousands of Zulus meanwhile stealthily proceed to the flanks of the thin British firing lines. These are the horns of the bull, the tactic honed since the days of King Shaka. British fire first stalls the advance, cutting down many. Once close enough, the Zulus hail spears and fire outdated guns into the British lines, and then charge. Berserking over heaps of fallen comrades, the relentless Zulus plunge their hand spears into British chests and stomachs. The British fall back to camp, scramble for ammunition, but Zulus charge the holes in their ranks and swarm the firing line from all sides. The sky dims under a solar eclipse. Wretched stragglers pull into makeshift...
Bro, a solar eclipse happened? A solar eclipse happened? What are the odds?
Squares and flail their bayonets. Zulus beat them with shields and drive spears through their torsos. One officer...
Oh my gosh, bro, these Zulus are madmen.
Charles Pope raises a revolver and fires at a Zulu commander. The shot grazes his neck, another hits his leg. The Zulu throws his spear. Pope staggers into the grass, pulling at the skewer in his own chest, but the Zulu forces it back in and kills him. Some British flee toward a river as Zulus chase them on the rocky banks. All those captured or wounded are killed. The Zulus do not take prisoners. After the final shots of resistance are spent, 1,300 of the invading forces lie dead. The victorious
1,300 and yo!
Zulus ritually remove their clothes and disembowel them, so as to allow the souls of the dead officers, infantry, and drummer boys to escape through the stomach, lest the Zulus be haunted by a trapped spirit. Night brings fog over the hills. Chelmsford makes his tepid return to Isandlwana with his troops. The shrewd offensive of the Zulus has exposed the imperious folly of Chelmsford, and left the grass wet with the entrails of Englishmen. One captain recalled stumbling over the naked, gashed, and ghastly bodies of our late comrades. Although the stout resistance of a small band of British soldiers at Rorke's Drift and Isandlwana itself inflicted a great loss on the Zulus, their ranks remained strong and furious. Zulus ambush a British caravan on the Ntombe River and proceed to devastate a British force at Hlobane. They track enemy forces to the camp at...
Bro, I heard the Zulus gave the British army a run for the money, but like, no, they were this much of a menace, dude.
At Kambula. In a show of defensive discipline, the British unleash a violent torrent of firepower on the charging Zulus. The death count is fewer than 30 British and up to 2,000 Zulus.
Holy crap, man! My goodness, man!
The war has heretofore been the result of insubordinate scheming on the part of Frere, but now gruesome war stories reach the British public and statesmen, and properly animate the broader British Empire to exact revenge. A second invasion is mobilized in late May, and now a foreign force of 25...
Yo, let's talk about that for a second, right? Because, like, dude, a lot of events that happened when Britain was colonizing, right? A lot of the events when they didn't particularly get to the mother country, Britain in time, right? And sure, Britain could have sort of like not really adhered to the people, but there it kind of had to, right? Like the people, like I kind of realized this when I was looking at more like British history. Like the people like, really had a big influence, obviously, but I would say obviously, but in some cases like Russia, It doesn't matter if the Tsar wanted something done. Nobody can't really stop him unless it's the army. But this is kind of reminds of how slavery. A lot of British people, no, I would actually argue majority of British people, when they finally heard of the details of slavery, they were appalled by it and they hated it, right? Obviously there were people who, slavery was being obsolete, they wanted, Britain was industrializing, yeah, obviously, but when a lot of people from Britain heard slavery, they were like, oh, hell no, this needs to be abolished. And I see a lot of people like say that freaking like they tend to associate every British person with all the wrongdoings that the British Empire has done, even though I would argue that Britain was the best colonial overlord to have, arguably speaking. But I don't know, it just simply reminded me of that. Let us continue.
5,000 roams Zululand. King Cetshwayo continues as always to ask for peace, but the initial demands of Frere remain unchanged, most notably the dismantling of the Zulu military system and the admittance of British colonial officials into the kingdom, terms tantamount to the abdication of the Zulu throne, the disintegration of indigenous autonomy. Chelmsford thus rejects Cetshwayo's attempts at ceasefire.
And not just that, but a lot of British colonization, despite the fact that it was associated with like every single British person, even though it probably shouldn't be, a lot of that was the responsibility of these high-ranking, rich officials, right? You know what I mean? Like in this case right here, this guy just straight provoked like war with the Zulus, bro. Like
in diplomacy, disgraced by the defeat at Isandlwana, Lord Chelmsford learns that he will be replaced by a man called Sir Garnet Wolseley in a matter of weeks. He will have to restore his reputation before then. Defying orders to stay in place, Chelmsford ravages the countryside, driving in
you see, this is my point. Like these people, these individual people, bro. And then guess what? You know what's gonna happen? Everyone's gonna see this who don't properly study history, and then they're gonna blame like all British people. Like, bro,
inhabitants and cattle from their modest homesteads. It had been cattle that provided the pastoralist Zulus with much of their food, furnished men with status and the means to pay dowries to acquire multiple wives. Women, meanwhile, fulfilled child-rearing duties and supplemented food supply with small-scale agriculture. Now emerging hazily ahead is the greatest herd in the most sprawling homestead of all, Ondini or Ulundi, the capital of the Zulu kingdom and the house of Cetshwayo. Chelmsford rallies his 5,000 troops. Cavalry roam the edges of the battlefield and the infantry forms a large square. Over 10,000 Zulus emerge from the swaying grass for a final stand.
Okay.
The horns of the bull encircle the British and then rush inward, met this time with the thunder of cannons and the tearing of the Gatling gun and the ceaseless rifle fire.
Oh, Gatling gun. Yeah. Oh, dude. I was thinking earlier in the video, but I didn't know if I should have said that. I was like, where was the Gatling gun? Right? Because I was pretty sure that Gatling gun was invented, right? Oh, but yeah, no.
No Zulu comes within 30 yards. The British shoot to death many of the wounded in retreating. Smokestacks and hissing flames overtake the valley as the royal capital falls. Tired chiefs surrender and the British burn Zululand in their hunt for Cetshwayo. They find him in the Ngombe forests, imprison him in Cape Town. He tells his captors, I was king of the Zulus, had my country invaded by the Queen's troops, tried to defend my country, but was beaten, taken captive, and brought down here by the Queen's orders. Here I intend to remain until the Queen restores me to Zululand. The struggle for power is familiar to Cetshwayo, for he first gained the throne by killing his rival brother and slaying the men, women, and children of that clan. But But if the fallen Zulu kingdom made devastating war against rival clans and peoples, it had also gleamed as a strong and united bastion of African power in an age of colonialism. After a visit to
Boy, get out of here with that nonsense. African. Oh, it's okay when the freaking Africans are slaughtering and enslaving each other and looting each other. But when another person who just so happens to have a certain adaptation on their skin pulls up and basically does the same thing. Oh no. Yeah, get out of here, honestly.
To London, Cetshwayo is released to Ulundi in 1883 to find his kingdom partitioned by the British into contentious and warring districts. A rival chief opposes his return, enlists the aid of Boer mercenaries, and attacks the new homestead of Cetshwayo. The loyal general Isandlwana is killed, and the bleeding king escapes again into the forest. Nearing his 60th year, the deposed king of the Zulus dies, either by heart attack or poison. The British soon annex Zululand, and the old clans are violently pressed into the colonial hierarchy in later South Africa. The path ahead is beset by persecution. It will be endured by millions of Zulus who speak still in the old tongue, sing and dance in the royal tradition, and tell stories of a great kingdom that, for a moment, triumphed against the British Empire.
I have mixed feelings about this, frankly speaking. I really do have mixed feelings about this. Honestly, like, in my personal opinion, the Zulu War, bad. It was just pure imperialistic. That was just completely imperialistic. Um, you know, I see no justification on that, frankly speaking. Um, but the only issue that I had was with this video was, and they didn't really do it, but the whole freaking African bastion against, like, no, dude, don't do that. Like, don't do that. Like, but like, no, it's like how people treat Native Americans. Like, all the Native Americans were these people, these innocent creatures who had to unite against the white. No, they were slaughtering, murdering, looting, and doing the R word with each other, man. Oh my gosh. But yeah, this video was honestly a good video, man. Check out my other videos on your screen. I couldn't post a video yesterday because I had to go to work. Make sure you like my video so the YouTube algorithm can see that you like my stuff. Thank you for watching. Keep on suggesting me more videos, and goodbye.